Hello? Oh, Ani, Kenawea, Brenda Pangowish, Indigenous Cause. Um, I am a teacher here at WIKWEMKOONG Board of Education. Ani, I see my students sitting out there. I'm really pleased to see them being respectful. I had a good chat with them before we came, talking about being good ambassadors of WIKWEMKOONG Pontiac School. Um, anyways, I was asked to talk today about SHKAKAMIK KWE Genwemaajig. So this is about our working group that we have that Theodore says we're his bosses. He says he's got lots of bosses. Apparently we're his boss. So this working group came to be during a species at risk presentation that he was having at the Pontiac School. Was a WIKWEMKOONG Board of Education conference. And Jacinta and I were attending his presentation. And sorry. And anyways, Jacinta and I were saying, hey, Theodore, we would really like to be a part of your program. We have students we work with, and we'd like to partner up with you. I think this is really great information that we can teach to the kids and start, getting them in their hands dirty and learning about WIKWEMKOONG and our traditional territory. So, then Theodore says, okay, well, I'll be in touch with you ladies and we'll meet up. And so that's how our working group was kind of conceived at that point. He called us and invited us out to dinner. We went to Green Acres, and that was our first meeting that I can recall. I believe that was back in 2018. Our main mission for us was that we wanted to be the bridging part of the education and our program here that was working to protect our traditional territory, especially the plants and the animals, the species at risk. And it's been since this time that we have done some big work. So this working group, like Theodore said, it steers the program and what we can do for our community. We have been working with other First Nations like Shishigwaning, Cape Croker, Walpole Island, and us. I want to tell you though that Theodore is the mastermind behind the scenes. He is the Jean-Luc Picard of our Species at Risk group. He's the one who says, make it so, Mr. Toulouse, to Glenn. Okay, this was the beginning of the means to fulfill the wish of the elders to have an outdoor learning environment for our children and to have somewhere to interact with SHKAKAMIK KWE. So our group meets on a regular basis. Usually it's monthly to discuss current issues at hand. We have been consulted in different capacities such as research projects, community consultations, ensuring that cultural and traditional traditions are being valued and considered in the important work that is taking place here in WIKWEMKOONG. Sometimes too, we also have to take on that responsibility of being gatekeepers of our knowledge. It's not something we can just pass off that our ancestors have been observing and gaining information over for many of years since time immemorial, right? So it's not something we're just gonna pass off to and say, okay, well, here, go with that. So we're kind of like gatekeepers of knowledge as well. We have many discussions, and at our working group, we'll sit and we'll discuss the things, the issues that are being presented. Sometimes there might be a little bit of debate, but it's always respectful. It's a very safe environment for us. And being in the working group, I find that I've learned a lot of traditional knowledge sitting there from all the people at the table who have brought their expertise and teachings that were passed on to them. So we've talked about a lot of issues regarding the land, and we have been consulted for items that have been with Chief and Council, and Chief and Council has also been great supporters of our endeavors as well. The main mission of our group is to include our youth in the projects that the species at risk have been working on. The first project was the Alver project. So the Alver is the sensitive area up in Prairie Point that has the yellow tape around it. And so we've been providing guidance on that. But not only that, but we also bring our youth out there. And that's where I started in as an educator, was bringing students up to Prairie Point. More recently, we've been consulted about the Phragmites, and we gave our input on after we discussed it. I think we had 2 rounds of discussion. And then there's a marsh project, Meshkudeng. That's where we take the students out on the land, and this is what the elders wanted, and this is what sparked the whole thing. That seed that was planted, and now we're 6 years into it. And it's really been a real success to see it, I guess. That's the best way I could say it, that we've been there and been helping along. It's really humble work. Like, we're just there volunteering, and we come out and we share what we know. And like I said, the different people we have around the table is what really makes it work, because we're all bringing a different level of expertise. So for me, my perspective, I was bringing in that I work with the youth, that I teach in the school, and that I want to pass on that knowledge to them, and I want them out there and engaging with SHKAKAMIK KWE WAAT. We also have had the summer camps and winter camp projects. The elders had wanted a summer camp and winter camp for the youth to engage in taking care of SHKAKAMIK KWE WAAT. We also work with different research projects, such as University of Guelph and WISE Lab. We do outreach and networking with other First Nations. And finally, I want to share the experience that I have had sitting on this committee. Um, there's a lot of us in this working group. Like Theodore said, there's like 30. I'm sure there have been more over the years that have come and gone and came back. And so it's just a continual evolution of our group. Okay, so this was our first experience going out. Whoops, sorry. This was back in 2018. That was my first group I brought out there, and this is the Alver, and this is where we were teaching them about the sensitivity of this area and how we need to protect it, that there are plants there, medicines there that are hard to find, and because there's not very much Alver land in Canada, and up in Prairie Point is one place that we actually have it. So there we are. Here's our first day camp group up at Prairie Point. Like Theodore said, it was just like 13, 15 participants, but there they are. That was our first summer camp. Here we are at the learning. Oh, I forget what it's called now. But anyway, all the posts represent the 7 grandfathers. Are you in there, Shibji? I'm not sure. You could be. If you look real hard, you might see yourself. So I see, yeah, I see my friend Rowan there, Cameron, Bentley, yeah. And here we brought some students to plant trees, to some cedars up there. And again, here's another picture of them at the marsh. This was, I think, after COVID. This was our first time back there after COVID. And at this point, the decks had been built. So we were able to bring the students to come and observe. And they love this area. They just love it. We also brought our students out for skating in the winter time. At this particular time, we offered the kids to come skate, to come snowshoe, or to come skiing. So everybody had an option. So they chose what they wanted to do. And this was our skating pond. Here are our skiers. This is at the second observation deck. So we went along the trail and we skied out there, and we went up and looked out there. This is at the entrance of the marsh, again, post-COVID. Here are some pictures that my students Drew, and these students are sitting here right now. So I'm really proud of their work. This is the work that they did upon returning back to school. Again, our teaching lodge. This is us there in the winter. And I think another thing too that we really want to impress too is that we try to incorporate the teachings, of course, obviously, in connecting back with the land. We've been up there for many things, which my colleagues will share in a bit. So I'm not going to go too much into that. Oh, that mean my time is up? Um, we also did this Amba Mamuista with the other three First Nations we were talking about. We met down in Rama and I did a presentation there. That's part of our work outreach. We were down at the ballpark and we set up at the WIKWEMKOONG Community Days. So this was the booth we had. This is actually my little granddaughter, Aurora. She came over to check it out. Bye, Bo. Here, this is what I really wanted to share. So we weren't going out to play football or soccer or anything here, but we were out looking for rattlesnakes. And I have always been afraid of snakes in general. And if the kids will tell you, it's more of a jump scare. It's not that I'm afraid of snakes. It's that you jump when you see them and you kind of scream a scream you never really hear out of your mouth. Anyway, these are shin pads, shin guards that you wear when you go out looking and walking where rattlesnakes are. On the top right corner, you could see my pole where I had to tap the ground to let the snakes know that I was coming. Um, it was a very interesting because I sat on the boat at the dock while everybody left. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm ready to go out there. Maybe I'll just sit here till they come back. But I summoned it up somewhere in myself to get the courage to go out. And as soon as you get off the boat, you're on these concrete walkways and you can see the rocks there. That's where the snakes like to go in. So last summer, I had the opportunity to go out with our group. And this is one of the things, one of the awesome benefits. Like it was just so interesting to go out there and tour this island where the rattlesnakes are. So it's pretty intriguing, like just being out there and finally summoning up the courage to go. And there I was tapping, tap, tap, tap. Finally caught up to the group, but we were successful. We did end up seeing a rattlesnake. This year is a baby rattlesnake, and but they were hard to look for. They weren't really there. Maybe they sensed my fear and hid. I don't know. But we really struggled to find them. But I was really happy because from what I learned there, and I would have never known this. And as an educator, I pass this on to my students, right, Bentley? That when we walk, we have to walk nengach. You have to watch where you step. If I just walk loosey goosey and metaphorically too in life, and this is what I was explaining to them, you have to watch where you're stepping. Of course, if you're just going to be looking around and walking, you're going to step on a snake. They're going to attack you. They're going to bite you. So rattlesnakes, I was telling them, they're not out to hurt anybody. They're not out there to attack you or anything. But you need to walk and gently and look on SHKAKAMIK KWE and make sure where you're stepping in anywhere, any condition, any place. This was the awesome group I got to go up with. We came across a racing pigeon. I'd never, ever heard of a racing pigeon. This pigeon had two bracelets on, a red and a blue one. Very pretty, colorful. And I think we looked up its tracking number and it was on a race from West Coast to the East Coast and somehow was stuck here for a bit. So the girls fed him or her. And yeah, we ended up having to leave, but trusted that it would get going on its way. So yeah, I've never heard of racing pigeons before. So that was something new that I learned as well. And then, like I was telling you, we also do the summer camps, which is this here, our poster for the latest camp we had this summer. So the kids had a chance to go for exploration at the marsh, and they were here at night. So they did night hikes. And one of the activities they had was looking for bats at night. And so most of us are so afraid of bats. Oh, that bat's gonna bite us, or it's gonna get stuck in our hair. And this was a perfect opportunity for kids to learn about bats and how important they are to our environment, that they're nothing to be feared, but to live with. And there's a picture of the teepees in the evening. It was really pretty and awesome sight. I saw the teepees set up there. There was about 5 or 6 of them, and this is where the children stayed in. And again, this is at the wish of the elders, right? This is what they asked for, and we just kind of provided guidance about it. So for me, coming on board, I just have a real passion for being out on the land. I love being out exploring our territory. I want to protect it as much as I can, and I want to pass that on to my students. I remember as a child, my grandpa would say to me, try not to take down as many maple trees as you can. Leave them up. Don't just take down what you need to. When he gave me property to build my house, and I respected that. I'm not tech. Yes, Michelle. I will make sure that I do my best to preserve the land here. And my grandmother Vicky, she said, I remember she took me out for a walk in the bushes, and she could remember some plants, and she looked at me and she said, "You know, I'm really sad." She said, "My grandmother used to take me out here when I was a little girl, but I didn't really pay attention, and now I don't know." She goes, "I really wish I had paid attention." And that always stuck with me. So when I have an opportunity to learn, and if I can pass on that knowledge, that's what I like to do. Anyways, to sum it up, I'm just going to close it up here. So we are a group of like-minded individuals who love and care for SHKAKAMIK KWE. We volunteer our time and meet monthly. Our group consists of many people who bring their traditional knowledge, Anishinaabe, Bemwen, and values to the table, where we mutually discuss and compare thoughts and concerns in a safe environment. I can also tell you, us like-minded individuals love good food, and Theodore feeds us well all the time. So this is a group that's open. Anybody can join. It's not exclusive. If you want to find out when we're meeting, you're more than welcome to join us. Um, and I look forward to continuing our work here with the species at risk group here in WIKWEMKOONG. Now, miigwech. Are there any questions? I don't know that I could answer them, but I'll do my best. No, that's good. No. Miigwech.